Ryan, you're wearing this shirt, and I was really excited to see that you wanted to talk about this because there's I know very little about this brand new independent comic book company. But what I will say is I walked past their booth at San Diego Comic-Con, and I was impressed. It was clean. The marketing was so crisp. I'm like, wait, what company is this?
Yeah, it's brand new.
And to find out that it's a comic book company, I'm like, okay, I'm in. Like, what's going on here? And then I saw some of the creative names: Jock, Zack Snyder, Scott Snyder, not Zack Snyder, different Zack, different Scott, different Snyder. Mirka Andolfo was on this list. Like, spit your shit, Ryan.
Yeah, no, I've been on DSTLRY since they first announced, I think back in like April or something, which is when I received the email and pre-ordered this limited print run shirt that says like founding fan on the arm here. It's got a list of all the creators. Tom barely mentioned a few of them, but that's all on the backside. But yeah, the creators involved with this are extensive and extremely, extremely impressive, which is the main reason that I even kind of noticed or cared, to be brutally honest, in the first place. But let me read some of them off for you. We've got Mirka Andolfo, Brian Azzarello, Mark Bernardin, Elsa Chartier, Becky Cloonan, Lee Garbett, Jock, Joelle Jones, Tula Lotte, Jamie McKelvey, Junko Mizuno, Stephanie Phillips, Scott Snyder, James Tynion IV, and Ram V. And those are all just the founding creators as well. But once you dig a little bit further into this publisher, it gets even more interesting because it was created and founded by two Comixology executives, one of whom is named David Steinberger, and he was actually a co-creator of Comixology from way back when. And then you have Chip Mosher, who is the head of Comixology content, their head of content, and I think he helped spearhead like the Scott Snyder Comixology original stuff that just happened relatively recently. But when you start looking at Comixology too, and Amazon bought them out like, I don't know, within the last decade or so, and last year specifically, Amazon made the really foolish decision to kind of merge the platform Comixology with like the Kindle platform, and those two don't really mesh very well, and Comixology kind of just got gutted. And it's very, very unfortunate, and it's very difficult to, you can't buy things on the app anymore. You have to upload a separate Google Chrome and like download and purchase your products through a completely separate, it's a whole mess. It's not a fun app to use anymore, and I was actually a really big fan of Comixology. But now we have DSTLRY coming out, which is a publisher/digital publisher. So all of the creators that I just listed are founding creators, and they have a stake in the company as well.
What is this oversized comic book foil with that D on the cover?
Well, this D stands for DSTLRY, and this is a convention exclusive, a San Diego convention exclusive. It's called The Devil's Cut, which is a one-shot that features 11 different stories in here from the creators that I just listed earlier, and it's only going to be printed once. It was in the catalog a couple months ago, and I pre-ordered every variant that I could because I'm a little bit obsessed. And it's not going to be printed again. There were two different San Diego exclusive variants. I got the more expensive one. I didn't want to get both because it's very hard to transport a magazine book on an airplane if you don't have the right store folio. But I really want to get this graded.
Okay, hold up. So you went out of your way at San Diego Comic-Con to seek this out and buy it, right? It didn't come with your, founding fan membership?
No, I actually didn't know this existed until I got to the con. I didn't even know DSTLRY was going to have a booth at the con, but like Tom said, it pops. Like they had this crazy bright yellow colors, and it was just a very stark, clean, minimalistic kind of booth. And then right there on the table, they had a bunch of these spread out, the gold foil one, and then the lower price non-foil is just a bright yellow to match the colors of their booth. That was the non-foil exclusive. But those are the two San Diego exclusives for The Devil's Cut. It's the only way to read The Devil's Cut right now. It doesn't officially drop until the end of August, but I went through last night super carefully with two gloves, which I don't usually do, and I read without trying to crack the square bound. I read everything in there, and I took notes, and I'm a little obsessed, but I have a lot of faith in all of the stories in here. There were 11 stories, and 8 of them are going to be spun off into ongoing titles moving forward. I also haven't even gotten into the digital aspect of DSTLRY because they are going to publish books through LCSs like the normal way, but there's also going to be a digital component where they release the issues on their website for 1 week only. So when issue 1 of one of these series drops, you have a 1-week window to buy however many copies people want, and then that's it. You cannot buy them from DSTLRY, but you are able to resell your digital copies on the DSTLRY platform to other people who maybe missed the boat and want to get the digital copy later, especially if it's a low physical print count and you can't. They're trying to adapt the physical collectability, resell market, secondary market nature to digital,
You want to know what that is eerily similar to?
but not like an NFT.
Exactly.
Yeah. They specifically steered away from that, which is another reason I'm a little more excited because I'm not on that train.
Yeah, I mean, the thing I don't like is them taking away from paper to digital. I mean, if
They're not taking away. They're doing both. It's going to be
well, it
joint
sounds
release.
like. Oh, I thought you were just saying they're trying to curve people into that, especially for the
Oh, no.
secondary market of people wanting a copy of this to read it. So it sounds like we're not going to reprint this, so you have to only get it digitally.
I believe they're going to they haven't said anything about not reprinting anything. I think if a book sells out, I'm pretty sure they'll do like second printings or whatever publishers normally do. But as far as the digital copies go, there's going to be a 1 week window where you can buy it for cover price, I assume, from the DSTLRY website. And then if you miss the boat and you want to buy it from somebody else, you can sell the copy you purchased that week to somebody else, and the creators get a cut of every sale that happens after the fact on the digital side.
Mm-hmm. I've heard that for digital NFT art like that. So you're saying that's just for the digital aspect of it. It's just a one-time release. You get it when whatever free comic book or whatever Wednesday comes out for digital.
Correct.
That's kind of cool. I dig that.
It kind of does like almost the opposite of what you thought he said.
Yeah.
Because most of the time, if you have it digitally, you're doing it after it comes out on Wednesday to kind of preserve the LCS grind so that they can sell their copies, people can read it physically, and then eventually, if they want to, get it digital so they can not have to acquire the comic books one by one to read the story. But in this particular case, they are actually limiting the digital acquisition to such a small amount of time that it kind of creates it as its own collectible, which is one thing, but it also then makes it so that you really want to get the physical as well.
I dig that because instead of just having something like Comixology where you're just buying the book and it's just a digital version, this is actually a collectible version that you can have for the cost of, what is the cost? Is it like a normal price of a book, or is it something more?
I assume it's going to be a little more than a regular book, because at least the Devil's Cut, the preview, it's almost like a preview ash can, if you will. It's definitely magazine size. It's bigger, but I don't know the exact price yet on the actual standalone series. I'm assuming they're going to be more than $4 though.
For the digital?
Probably. I would assume they match the digital and the physical prices, similar to what Comixology did. But yeah, Comixology, you could just go on and buy an issue anytime.
This is like the inverse to what Bad Idea does, in that they will never make a second printing, third printing, fourth, etc., like other publishers will do. What they'll do is they'll release issue 1. That's the print count. That's the release. And then they'll make a not second printing cover. They literally put that on the comic book, and that they are very outspoken about going back to the well and just reprinting as much as they need to meet any demand that there is for the comic. But knowing that it's not a second printing means that there's not a limited amount of them because they didn't go back to press one time. They can go back to press on that anytime. Just shooting the collectible in the foot and saying this will never be a collectible because we can just endlessly make them.
What's cool about the Devil's Cut is the 11 stories in here are also original prequels. They aren't previews. They're not like samples of things that are going to be coming out in the new series that are launched out of this one-shot anthology series. So these are first appearances of all of these characters are going to be in this Devil's Cut one-shot. The first book that's actually coming to press is currently in the catalog. It's going to be called Gone. It's written and illustrated by Jock, and it spins out of one of the stories called The Stowaway from this book about a little girl in a dystopian future who tries to like steal bread off of a ship, a supply ship that suddenly takes off, and she just barely manages to like leave the ship before getting like blasted off into space as a little stowaway like street rat kind of kid. So I'm interested to see how that story continues, and I'm very much going to check out Gone when it comes out in October.
So there's 11 stories in this thing?
Yes, most of them are like 5 pages. There's a couple in here that are like 8 or 11, but yeah, it's a bunch of little short stories, and I loved most of them. But it's an anthology, so yeah, they can't all be my jam. But the things I didn't like are going to be somebody else's cup of tea, and I'm just excited. I'm excited to get my hands on a reader copy of this because I am never going to open this again, and I want to get it slabbed and sent off and not have to worry about it because it's already going up in price. I checked eBay last night.
I want to see some attaboys in the comment section below for that. We're trying to like enable the collector within you, Ryan, and we're bringing that out, and I'm excited.